In the streets of Champaign, Illinois, a few raindrops falling in the air, but there's also some women's gymnastics in the air, and that takes us inside to Huff Hall on the campus of the University of Illinois. And we have a top 20 women's gymnastics matchup here to show you this afternoon, Ohio State and Illinois. Lisa Byington here. We're happy to have you join us in our second meet of the weekend and our second of the season. We're going to show you all 8 Big Ten gymnastics teams, and it'll take us to our live broadcast at the end of March for the Big Ten championships. My partner all season long is going to be Kylie Kalorick, and you might know her as Kylie Boderman, the former 9-time All-American at Michigan. She also won the NCAA All-Around Championship, and now Kylie has taken the sticker off of her cheek there and added a little microphone.
I miss it, Lisa. I do. I miss being out there every weekend.
I'm sure you do. We're happy to have you with us, though. But let's talk about these 2 teams we'll see here this afternoon. And Carrie Fagan of Ohio State has been with the program for 7 years, but it's safe to say that this might be one of the deepest teams that she has fielded in Columbus for some time.
Carrie has done very great recruiting over the last couple of years. They have depth this year. They have the luxury of playing with those lineups a little bit where they didn't have it the previous few years. Colleen Dean will be the highlight all-around performer. She, coach says, has not hit 4 for 4 like she potentially can. Vault and floor, I would say, are probably going to be her best events today.
And the Illini's head coach, Kim Landris, was an interim head coach last year, but what a season Illinois had, going to the NCAAs for just the 2nd time in program history, and the Illini, of course, are trying to build off of that this year.
They are, and I believe they will. They're going to take that as motivation for this year. They know their goals and how to attain them this year. Coach has talked about losing top dogs Allison Buckley and Mel Fernandez, and how the girls have to figure out their new roles this year. Alina Weinstein is Illinois' top all-around performer, competing on all 4 events. I would say her strengths today are going to be bars and floor, so watch out for a great performance from Alina and the rest of the Fighting Illini today.
We're excited to get things started. 4 rotations to go. We got the first rotation right around the corner. Ohio State and Illinois coming up. BTN Women's Gymnastics is brought to you by Alpha Factor. Compete with confidence. Your series history between these 2 teams, it's a close one. Ohio State leading 13-12 into 1 tie, and that 1 tie coming last year, January 22nd. That one coming in Columbus. Take a look at our lineups. Start with the vault for Illinois first. Liz McNabb leading things off. And then you see the rest of the Illini line up there for the vault. We head over to the bars for Ohio State. Alex DeLuca will be your first look, just a sophomore for the Buckeyes. And you see the other 5 gymnasts following DeLuca in that event. First up for Illinois, it'll be Liz McNabb, who got off to a shaky start against Michigan for Illinois last weekend to 2 vaults. Said it was a little bit, her coach said she got a little bit of a mental block, which happens sometimes for gymnasts.
Does happen sometimes. She's got to shake it off, and here Liz goes. She starts off with a simple Yurchenko layout, takes a little step out of it. Kim has said this isn't their weakest event, but definitely the event they can most improve on. She gets a nice block off the table, straight body in the air. Gets the Illini rolling.
Broke into the B lineup, Coach McMahon said. Kim Landris, 10th season at Illinois, but first as the head coach. She was in the interim basis last year. Alex DeLuca moving over to bars for Ohio State. She gets things started here for the Buckeyes.
She has been in this leadoff position for 2 years now.
Had a season high against Pittsburgh last weekend.
DeLuca starts with a blind full pirouette to a blind half. High to low bar change, directly back up to the high bar with a toe up. Has a tough double front dismount. Opens up at the right time and knows exactly where she is.
Took the small step back on the landing.
She likes it, her team likes it. That's why she's the leadoff spot. Nice, clean routine.
Watch your hands here, Kylie.
This is her pirouetting, going into her dismount. You have to have a nice grip on the bar.
Carrie Fagan in her 7th year at Ohio State. She was last year's Big Ten Coach of the Year. She won that award again in 2007. Next on the vault is Jaclyn Kantecki. Her teammate Liz McNabb scored a 9.525 in the leadoff spot.
She did compete a layout Yurchenko last weekend. Kim says she's upgrading soon, so we'll see what she pulls out. She does twist. Very nice vault for Jaclyn.
You were surprised she twists.
I believe that's the first time she did a full this year, so it was great.
I like her coach's reaction.
Everyone's excited for her. I talked about upgrading their vaults, and here's one of them. Has nice height in the air, knows where she is when she lands. You can see her teammates in the background there.
She looks like a gymnast who said, you know what, I was going to try something. It worked.
It worked
a little bit. Taylor Jones up next on the bars. Alex DeLuca, her teammate in the leadoff spot, scoring a 9.75.
Here goes Jones. Coach talked about maybe moving her later in the lineup throughout the season. Toe up to the high bar.
Taylor Jones, one of the captains of this Buckeye team.
Goes into a double layout dismount. Large step back.
How much deduction for that large step back?
I would say 1/10 to 2/10, maybe right in between, 1/10 and a half.
Take a look at her dismount.
She gets a very nice tap. Stays straight throughout the whole time. Doesn't move that front foot though. As long as one foot stays, that's less deduction.
That's what the judges look at. Back to the vault, Elise Gill. Jaclyn Kantecki's score 9.775. Gill here, the 3rd gymnast up for Illinois.
That was a very powerful vaulter. Shows the handspring front pike. It's only a 9.9 start value. Watch the distance she gets.
And
wow.
Stuck the landing. Whoa!
Did not move her feet at all.
When you talk about a 9.9 start value, the value for her is what in starting that way?
That was a 9.9. Coach said she's working on a half, a front pike half, which would be starting from a 10. But if you can stick a 9.9 vault like this, bam, she doesn't move her feet at all. If you can stick like that, there's no deduction. Why risk doing the half when you don't need the extra difficulty?
Keep it simple. Back to the bars. Alexis Schmidt is up. Taylor Jones scored a 9.8 on the bars. Here is Schmidt out of Frankfort, Illinois.
My old teammate from United Gymnastics Academy. Starts out with a blindfold to a major release to Kacha. She clicked her heel there on the bar if you heard it. It's a cool way to do a straddle back. She had a front grip going into that straddle back there.
When you click the bar, is that something that the judges deduct on?
It will be a small deduction. It wasn't very noticeable. Nice clean double layout.
And just a small step forward there on the landing.
Coach said she had a few consistency problems in practice, but I thought she looked, here goes her Tkachev. That right heel just hit very lightly.
And her dismount.
Nice arch in that double layout. Her heel might be burning a little bit.
Amber C is next. We want to flash back. Remember, she won the event championship last year in the Big Ten Gymnastics Championship. Amber C, here's another look, a flashback. The vault champion. Woohoo! Pretty darn good.
That's a very different vault.
Well, Amber C up next here on the vault. Her teammate Elise Gill actually got a career high 9.85.
This is Amber's signature event. She hasn't had the best year so far in vault. She's been competing a half from Not here, we might see the front full.
And a step to the side.
A step to the side. She wasn't warming it up that well. That was the best one I saw her do today. Here we go. Nice block. Sets before she twists, and just a small step to the side, a little bit off balance.
That vault compared to the one she did that we saw, the flashback, can you compare the two?
They were the same vaults. I think the first vault at Big Ten's got a little bit more height, a little more amplitude, and she stuck it. She didn't move her feet on the vault at Big Ten's.
Over to the bars, Colleen Dean, one of the all-arounders for the Buckeyes, and Schmidt, who went before her, a 9.65.
Nice handstand work. Colleen does a piked Jaeger where she keeps her feet together in the flip. And that half pirouette right there, coach says she's working on a hop half instead of just a handstand pirouette, which would add a little bit more difficulty to that routine.
Take a look at a release move here, Kylie.
You see her hands grabbing onto that bar. And that's the half pirouette into the double tuck dismount. Slight hop. She likes it. Great first couple of routines for Ohio State.
Alina Weinstein next on the vault. Amber C before her, a 9.75, a season high for Amber C.
There's a very serious look in her face running down the runway. Beautiful Yurchenko full. You can really tell how she sets off the table before she twists that ball.
You were telling me watch her pop.
Exactly. Off of the table, as soon as her hands, she lifts in the air to set into the full twist. Here's a different angle. Sets before twist, takes a very small step backward. That's going to be a good score for the Illini.
We'll have to wait and see. Back onto the bars. Casey Williamson for Ohio State. Colleen Dean before her, a 9.75. And here is Williamson, the senior. She had a team high in this event last weekend against Pitt.
Nice blindfold pirouette. Nice combination work. She has a double layout dismount. Nice, clean, simple routine from Casey.
Go back, look at her release move.
This is called a toe up. Toes on the low bar, straddle up to catch the high bar.
You've used the word simple a lot, which is the strategy, it seems like, and the theme here for this afternoon for some of these gymnasts.
Ohio State has historically not been their best event. They don't have a lot of major releases, but they have been clean and simple, and if they can get the scores they need.
Kelsey Joannides on the vaults for Illinois. Weinstein, a 9.775. You thought it'd be a good one. It was for Weinstein. Here's Joannides.
It's a very big vault from Kelsey. She has the amplitude that judges are looking for. Nice height, nice distance, mixture of both.
How do you generate that?
Your run is what starts everything, but a nice round off, nice block that she gets right there. Doesn't have a lot of pike down.
Heading back to Ali Marone. 5 before Marone.
Marone has nice lines, very tall gymnast. That was a straddle Jaeger. A little bit arched on that bail, but she picked it up. Blind into a double front dismount. Knows exactly where she is, and great routine.
How do you correct when you're in the routine and you get into that arch form? How do you correct that?
Squeeze your stomach, squeeze your rear end, and you'll be okay. That's a blind landing coming forwards.
And the difficulty of that is?
The same as a double layout would be, like we have been seeing from Ohio State.
Exhibition now on the vault. Doesn't count in the score, just gives Kelsi Eberly an opportunity to perform here in front of the home crowd, in front of her teammates. Should mention Kelsey Joannides recorded a 9.775 before that exhibition routine by Eberly.
That was a nice exhibition vault for Illinois.
Illinois recording a 48.925 on the vault, a season high. So the Illini getting off to a fast start here already after the first rotation. Over on the bars, Victoria Aepli. She will perform her exhibition routine here on the bars. Allie Marone before her, the anchor, a 9.75 on the bars for the Buckeyes.
Exhibition routines are nice to get the girls experience as well. Maybe those younger girls. Wow.
They get to experience the butterflies and the nerves a little bit, like you would. We'll take a look at Apley's dismount here again, Kylie.
It's a very difficult dismount. Most difficult dismount we've seen today. That's a full twisting double layout. And that's tough.
And that's the advantage, too, of when you say it's a difficult dismount, of trying that in front of the crowd and seeing how she can perform under pressure.
Exactly.
Well, we got a season high already for Illinois. The Buckeyes completing the bars, Illinois in the vault. We'll switch between the two teams in the second rotation coming up.
To learn more, visit btn2go.com.
Tonight, rivals collide in West Lafayette. The Hoosiers battle Purdue for state and conference bragging rights. Tip-off coverage, 6:30 Eastern, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Here's Illinois. The vault result, as I mentioned, a season high for the Illini. Who stood out for you there?
Definitely those top scores. Elise Gill got a 9.85, beautiful vault. Alina and Kelsey and Jaclyn all with the same score of 9.775.
Remember, the top 5 scores are counted, the top 5 out of the 6 gymnasts who compete. And here are the bar results for the Buckeyes. A tally of a 48.825. So after the first rotation, Illinois with the lead over Ohio State. Two teams warming up. They swap events. Ohio State goes to the vault, Illinois to the bars. Who are you excited to see in this rotation?
On bars, I'm excited to see the bottom two. Honestly, Weinstein and Kantecki both have cool routines. All of Illinois routines are difficult.
Define cool for me.
You'll see when they perform them.
And on the vault for Ohio State.
Dean and Jones are going to be anchoring. We'll see a lot of Yurchenko-Foles from Ohio State on vault.
And it's our first look at Sarah Miller, too, who will anchor the vault for Ohio State. Taking a look at Sarah Miller, a Big Ten Freshman of the Year from last year. She was pulled as an all-arounder, will not compete on the floor, will concentrate more or less here on the vault and on the beam here this afternoon.
And this year they do have the depth to play with their lineups.
That's what we were talking about in the Open. One of the Buckeyes' deepest teams, Carrie Fagan, when we talked to her this week, she said that could be a possibility, that Miller was battling a little bit of a bum ankle, and as you had said, she would like to have her in the lineup, but wasn't as concerned maybe as in previous years.
Let her rest that ankle. She doesn't need her right now. It's still early in the season.
Carrie Fagan's team picked 4th in the Big Ten preseason in the coaches poll. Had 8 letter winners back. But they had lost going into this season. They had lost Rebecca Best from last year. OSU's last All-American, tough on the beam. Made her 3rd trip to the Nationals last year. What do you remember about Best?
She had a great 4 years at Ohio State. I think she was their top all-arounder for the last 2 years at least as she was there. So that's definitely a big loss for Ohio State.
Here's our team score after the first rotation. As I mentioned, Illinois with the lead after a season high there on the vault, 48.925. The vault lineup for the Buckeyes. As we take a look at Kim Landris there, trying to lead her Illini team to the win here. The Buckeyes starting out with Alexis Schmidt, just a freshman. And then you got 3 seniors who will follow her. Colleen Dean, who you had mentioned, and we had talked about Sarah Miller, the very talented sophomore who will be the anchor for the Buckeyes on this event. Here's the bar order for Illinois. Amber C, the sophomore. Welker, Joannides, Fiedler, Weinstein, and Kantecki.
Getting a little pep talk there.
How much does that help? Does it make you more nervous? Did it make you more nervous when a coach came out to you right before?
That was from a teammate. Pep talk from a teammate.
Well, either
I think
or.
it's a little different.
Coach, oh, okay, okay.
But I liked both.
It's more comforting from a
Hyped me up,
teammate?
yeah, definitely.
I hope your coaches are listening. Alexis Schmidt leading things off here on the vaults for the Buckeyes.
Very nice vault. This is only her 2nd time competing vault this season. Great lead off. Does a Yurchenko full. Legs are squeezed together the whole time.
So Schmidt knocking one out here for the Buckeyes. We'll head over to the bars where we find Amber C. Jay Santos getting a little instruction. He's the associate head coach here for Illinois. Amber C, one of the all-arounders for the Illini, a 9.750 on the vault.
Amber's the leadoff on bars and beam. So she obviously has that confidence to start the team off right on both of those events. You're gonna see a unique trick right here from Amber. Front flip, catch the bar, 2 in a row. It's a very different release move in NCAA gymnastics today.
You say different, but does that equate to difficult?
Difficult, yes. It's a release move that not many girls do. You don't see it very often, and she did 2 of them.
Amber C's performance gets the high fives and a little applause from the home crowd.
Here's the first one. Just the fact that they're in between the bar and she has a front grip going into the release move.
Coach Landris said C just loves to compete. Gets things started here for the Illini on bars. Nicole Crowder up next for Ohio State on the vault. Her teammate Alexis Schmidt, a 9.75.
Crowder stuck last weekend, tying for the win with teammate Sarah Miller.
Yeah, she got a career high against Pittsburgh.
And another stick.
She lands a little off center. Will she be deducted for that?
Because the judges are on the sides, I don't think it's that much outside of the middle that they'll notice.
How about where she hits the table?
She hits the table pretty centered, setting a little crooked, which made her travel to the left there.
Okay. Hannah Welker for Illinois out of Pennsylvania. Amber C recording a 9.675 on bars before Welker.
This is Hannah's only event today. Maybe exhibitioning floor. Blind full pirouette into an in-between the bar Takache. Straddle back handstand. She hits every one of those handstands. That really counts.
Oh, and she hit the routine.
Stuck double layout dismount.
Hannah Welker.
I told you we're going to be seeing some nice routines from Illinois. That's straddle back handstand.
And the dismount. It was
Double
a good
layout. Very pretty dismount to watch.
Coach Landers said she's competed well on the bars for us fairly consistently for us. I would say show with that kind of routine. Back to the vault, Taylor Jones. Nicole Crowder, update on her score, a 9.825.
Jones today will be doing everything but beam.
Stuck it.
Ohio State's killing these vaults right now. Sticking everything.
Taylor Jones.
Lisa, I think she twists a little bit early off of the table. But it didn't affect her at all because she knew exactly where she was.
Did she have to recover from that? Twisting early?
That might just be natural for her. That just may be the way she always does her vaults.
Well, she's got a smile on her face. She liked it. Taylor Jones. For the Buckeyes on the vault, we head back to the bars. Kelsey Joannides, one of the all-arounders. Her teammate, a career-high Hannah Welker. A career-high, a 9.850.
Good for her. I thought that was a great routine.
You could be a judge or something.
I'll stick with this for now.
Okay. Kelsey Joannides.
Kelsey has very nice lines. It's a pack salter to the low bar. A little bit of a different way to get down there. Beautiful handstands.
Coach Landers said she's a great senior leader in all 4 events. Leading the way there.
Everybody must have sprayed some sticky spray on their feet before this event.
Take a look at the dismount.
Double layout. Can tell by her eyes. She sees exactly where she needs to be to stick that dismount.
How often do you do that?
Spot things. I spotted everything to help me out.
Allie Marone up next for the Buckeyes. Her teammate Taylor Jones, a 9.775 in the 3rd spot right before her.
Kelly does a nice Rachenko full. A little loose on the landing there, had to take a couple of steps.
Not a terrible landing, but with the kind of routines we've seen, not certainly the best out of this rotation so far.
Takes 2 step backwards. Everything in the air looked great. It was nice height, very pretty. We've just been seeing all those sticks.
She's had some tough routines to compete against here so far. Some pretty darn good ones. Sarah Fiedler up next for Illinois on the bars. Kelsey Joannides, another career high, back-to-back career highs for Illinois, 9.9 for Joannides.
Fiedler starts with a tail hawk to a straddle Jaeger. She also does straight body handstands, which the rest of her teammates have been doing a straddle cast handstand. You see her legs stay together the whole time during those handstands.
Illinois is coming to compete this afternoon. Back-to-back career highs on that event. Sarah Fiedler, pretty darn good too.
Very nice body position.
Colleen Dean, the other all-arounder for Ohio State. Her teammate, Allie Marone, recording a 9.7.
Dean also doing a Yurchenko full. Tiny little hop there, but great vault overall. She didn't get as much distance as the few girls before her have.
How do you create distance here?
I keep saying the block off the table, but right there, when your hands get off the table, helps you get the height and the distance to push you farther.
Head coach Carrie Fagan's reaction. She liked it. A clap and a smile for last year's Big Ten Coach of the Year. Colleen Dean will wait for her score as we head back to the 5th gymnast for Illinois, Alina Weinstein, an all-arounder. Sarah Fiedler, 9.825.
Watch this release move here. She has a blind full pirouette to a very nice Tkachev.
This is one of the gymnasts you couldn't wait to see here this afternoon.
She's just very pretty, very easy to watch. Nice low bar work. And she also does a double front dismount.
You could see that she was trying to recover. Where did it go wrong for her there?
The first pirouette she did, that blind change, she was supposed to go over the bar. Right there, she's supposed to keep going. Just didn't have enough momentum. So here I think she was going to try to do another pirouette to get her going the right way again, and it just didn't work out.
So explain here for our viewers what happens here. She gets to finish her routine.
She gets a 30-second amount of time to chalk up her grips, tighten up her grips if she needs to get back on the bar, and then able to finish her routine. Sometimes you just lose your momentum. What just happened there for Alina?
Before that happened, take a look at their hands on this release move.
Flawlessly catches her Tkachev.
Alina Weinstein, not the performance that she would want. We'll see her a couple more times, though, here this afternoon. Sarah Miller wrapping things off for Ohio State on the vault. Her teammate Colleen Dean recording a 9.8.
Sarah Miller last weekend tied with teammate Crowder for first place on vault.
She took a few hops afterwards in celebration, which is fine.
But none on the landing.
Not on the landing, which is where it counts.
Yurchenko half onto the table, pike front off. We see it from the side here, half on, sets nicely, legs straight the whole time.
That is
doesn't
pretty.
Move her feet.
That is pretty. Tied for first in the event at Pittsburgh, against Pittsburgh in the vault last weekend. Sarah Miller, now a sophomore, coming through big time in that event for the Buckeyes. Jaclyn Kantecki for Illinois will wrap things up in the anchor spot. We head back to Weinstein's score in 8.65.
Starts off the routine with a bar change, low to high. She has a nice combination coming up. Blind full into a Delchev, bail immediately. It's a very difficult routine. And we should be seeing a full out dismount.
Oh, man, Illinois came to play on the bars.
Nice recovery from the last routine. That's exactly what they needed to close out this event. That's a Delchev. We haven't seen one of those today.
And head to her dismount.
Full twisting, double tuck.
Look at her teammates. That's sometimes my favorite part to watch. The end of the event, the reaction by her teammates, by her coaches. Head back to the vault. We got a couple exhibition Routines to go here in the second rotation. Sarah Grady for Ohio State here on the vault. Meanwhile, her teammates, Sarah Miller, a 9.825. Could change. That is, I've been told they're looking into that score. Sarah Miller's score of a 9.825.
Nice layout half, Yurchenko for Sarah.
Sarah Grady gets an exhibition routine in the books under her belt. A sigh of relief, got that taken care of.
And it was a nice vault. Maybe she can make her way into the lineup somewhere down the line.
Headed over to the exhibition routine for Illinois. Jordan Nailway. Jaclyn Kantecki recording a 9.775 in the anchor spot for Illinois, and the Illini solid here on the bars.
It's a very tough release move she just started this routine off with. It's called a Shaposhnikova. And she did it very nicely. Full twist pirouette to a double tuck dismount.
That wraps up this rotation. Coming up, we go to our third rotation. Ohio State on the floor, Illinois on the beam. You saw the video there, and Tuesday night, let's remind you, join host Dennis Haysbert as we explore the efforts of Big Ten universities on and off campus to make a difference in a variety of fields around the globe. Impact the World Tuesday night at 8 Eastern, only on BTN. Go to btn.com for start times. Joining us now is Ohio State head coach Carrie Fagan. And Coach, thanks for joining us. I understand that there was an inquiry looking into Sarah Miller's last score there on the vault, and an improved score going from a 9.825 to a 9.925. But what does that do? What is your comfort level coming out of that vault and out of the second rotation for your team?
You know, Sarah typically anchors vault for us, and it's frustrating. To me, we see that the start value tends to be wrong on that vault. It happens really fast, and the judges sometimes miss that quick half turn she does onto the table. So it's a little bit of a downer. You know, you want that 9.9, which she typically hits for us in the anchor spot. So, but it's nice to know the score came up. I hadn't heard that yet.
Coach, 2 down, 2 to go. What needs to happen on your final 2 to come out with a successful meet today?
You know, we've hit 12 for 12 so far, some stumbles along the way, but, you know, we really are just looking to hit 12 more routines and hit 24 for 24 and see what our max team score can be at this point in the season.
All right, Coach, we appreciate the time.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. So after 2 rotations, as we broke the news to the head coach, an improved score for her anchor there on the vault for Sarah Miller. How often does that happen, where what she was talking about, a judge misses a certain skill in a routine like they did with Sarah Miller's?
I mean, it could happen every weekend. It could happen once a year. It just depends on if the judges miss something or not, or if they're 100% on their game.
With that improved score by Sarah Miller, you see the 9.925. Ohio State tallies a 48.975 on that event for a total of 97.8 here after 2 rotations. And Illinois on the bars had a couple of career highs by Hannah Welker and Joannides. Kelsey Joannides, both back-to-back career highs there on that event. They tally a 49.025. A season high, and of course you see down there with Weinstein, just an unusual situation for Alina to fall, but it happens to the best of the gymnasts.
It happens, and she has 2 events left that she can help her team out on.
So here's your total after 2 rotations. You see Illinois was ahead after the first rotation. The Illini remain in the lead here after the second rotation. After 2 rotations, Illinois a season high of a 49.025. As the Illini head to the beam, Amber C is first up.
They had a rough meet last weekend on this event, so let's see if they can continue the momentum from vault and bars and knock out some beam routines.
Head coach Kim Landers is known as being a beam specialist. What is she good at in teaching here for her gymnasts in this event?
When we spoke with her this week, she talked a lot about key words. I asked if she prepared the team any differently this week in practice, because of the mistakes last weekend. And she said they did a lot of keyword routines, which really helps the gymnast mentally.
I know you said it's a common thing for gymnasts to use, but maybe people who aren't familiar with the sport talk about what a key word is.
Before each skill that you do, you'll have maybe 1 or 2 key words like push back strong or squeeze your legs. Little things like that definitely help. Amber looks calm, cool, and collected up there.
Amber C leading things off here for the Illini.
Her second event that she leads off on.
Just a sophomore. Lead off on bars and beam, anchors the floor, and a dismount.
What a great first routine for Illinois. I don't think I saw any major wobbles or mistakes on that routine.
Here's go back and look at the flight series for Amber C.
Back handspring, layout, step out. Looking at the end of the beam. And cartwheel into her gainer full dismount and does not move her feet.
Well, Illinois already a season high pace here after 2 rotations. Amber C doesn't want to look back on that kind of pace. We head over to Casey Williamson for Ohio State. Dealing with a heavy heart. We hope her mom is out there watching, battling breast cancer.
Emotionally tough on a gymnast. On any athlete for that matter. Last weekend had a couple floor problems. Talked about the floor being a slow floor, which might mean it's a little bit tighter than a regular springy floor is. Casey had a fall last weekend.
Casey Williamson, the senior, out of Ohio. Her first pass.
Very high double pike.
He smiled on that one.
It was clean, it was pretty. Switch side into a copa.
What kind of personality do you need in lead off on floor?
A confident one. She needs to know that she's going to hit this routine because however the first person does leads up to the rest of your routines for the day on that event. That second pass is what she fell on last weekend, and it looked great to me.
Casey Williamson trying to play to her teammates a little bit. She gets prepared for her final pass.
Dismounts with a back handspring double tuck.
A little bit of a step back. It looked like she stepped out of bounds there. How much of a deduction?
She did step out of bounds. For every step you take out of bounds, it is a 10th. And the judges will raise their hand.
We'll go back and look at Williamson's first pass here.
Both first and last passes very high. Nice amplitude. And we'll see this third pass in her step out here. Tries to save it. And a little bit off balance.
So how many steps did you take there officially, or did you count?
Just one. I would say 1/10 out of bounds there.
Liz McNabb there on the floor for Illinois. Amber C before her ties a career high of a 9.85. So the career highs, the season highs keep rolling in here for Illinois this afternoon.
On their game tonight.
Liz McNabb, what kind of beam performer is she?
This is a very unique routine. She has a trick in here. I'll show you when she gets to it, but that's a back handspring layout, step out her series. Last weekend she missed it at Michigan. It's a front flip to a sit position on the beam. Very nice lines in her leaps. Here she goes. It's a cool trick, not a lot of girls do it.
And it looked cool.
That's why it is in. Well, that's why it's in there. Differentiate your routine from all of the standard beam routines. Gearing up for her dismount. She's going to do a back handspring into her gainer full.
Liz McNabb. And the Illini keep rolling. Let's go back to cool.
The front flip, kick over.
That's
she
cool.
sees the end of the beam. She knows exactly where she is.
And to the dismount.
Back handspring into the gainer full and doesn't move those feet. Great first two routines for Illinois, where last weekend they already had 2 falls at this time. Now the rest of the girls in the lineup have nothing to worry about.
Back to the floor, Nicole Crowder. Her teammate, Casey Williamson, a 9.525. Nicole Crowder, a senior, a captain, in the second spot here on the floor.
Crowder's routine is very elegant. Just shows her personality in this routine.
Is it elegant all the way through, or does she change this personality in the routine?
We'll find out. Starts off elegant, nice double tuck.
With Sarah Miller out, Coach Fagan told us that Crowder would do 4 for the first time if she couldn't go.
Crowder does a front layout full, punch pike front. Music changes a little bit here.
How important is smiling?
In a routine like this, it's a more serious tone. So I wouldn't say, I say every gymnast has a different personality and is gonna smile a little bit more or a little bit less. I like to smile the whole time.
Elegant, dramatic, having fun.
She has some nice dance combinations.
Crowder preparing for her pass.
That's a front full and a half called a Rudy into a Shushanova.
Doing 4 for the first time. You're great.
She looked very good to me out there. Here's her Rudy to the Shush. It takes out the landing. You don't have to worry about landing perfectly because you get to land on your stomach. Right into her final pose.
All right, Kelsi Eberly up next on the beam for Illinois. A career high for Liz McNabb. So back-to-back career highs for Illinois on the beam. C and McNabb.
Eberly has a very difficult flight series we're about to see. She did fall on it last weekend as well. It's a round-off punch layout step out. You have to be so perfectly straight and square on that skill. She's a very sharp dancer. The beam is only 4 inches wide. You have to remember that. All the difficult moves they're doing up there. There's not much room for error. It's a different move right there, shoulder roll.
Her teammate Liz McNabb with the 9.85. The back-to-back career highs, both Amber C and Liz McNabb recording 9.85s, which is important because the top 5 of 6 scores count here.
So this will put a little pressure on the final 3 competitors. Gainer pike off the end of the beam. Most girls do their gainers off the side of the beam. Here's the round off punch layout. She's a little crooked taking off into that layout step out.
Shows the 4-inch wide piece of wood you got to do all those tricks on.
That's the kick over front, and She wasn't off at all on that.
Headed back to floor, Alex DeLuca for Ohio State. Nicole Crowder, a season high 9.725.
Very powerful tumbling in this routine, you'll see.
DeLuca preparing for her first pass.
Punch, front double front. A little bit low on the landing, but that is a very powerful first tumbling pass. We won't see that again today.
Coach Fagan calling her a workhorse. A dynamic floor routine from her head coach. That's her description. What do you see that's dynamic?
That first tumbling pass was definitely dynamic. You'll see the rest of her routine as well. It's just packed with difficulty. Front layout, that's her combination pass.
Alex DeLuca, a sophomore, preparing for her final pass.
She does a 2.5 twist. Uses that mat there for a little extra cushion.
How common is that?
I would say pretty common. Gymnastics is a tough sport on the ankles, on the joints, and any extra squish you can get on landings is helpful. Here's the 2.5.
And there's the squish.
Twisting a little bit when she's landing still, but she pulls it out.
Well, the dynamic performer, Alex DeLuca, finishing off the floor there for Ohio State. Sarah Fiedler, on the beam. Her teammate, Kelsi Eberly, a 9-1.
Fiedler starts off with her flight series, back handspring layout, step out. Looks confident up there. Straddle half into a beat jump. Nice front aerial, a little balance check.
How much of a deduction, if at all, for a balance check like that?
That was not very obvious. I wouldn't even say up to a full 10th. Possibly a half 10th.
What's the difference between that one we just saw?
That might be a 10th right there. Dismounts with a 4.5 twist. But it's a hit routine for Illinois.
Sarah Fiedler.
Front aerial. Tiny balance check. Just dropped her shoulder a little bit. If you keep your shoulders square, you're not going to have any of those balance checks. And that's her back handspring layout, step out.
All right, Sarah, way to go, man.
As she waits on her score. And Allie Marone, who was a late addition here after warm-ups, onto the floor. She replaces Melanie Schaefer. They're in the lineup rotation for Ohio State. Adding this event puts her in the all-around competition.
First tumbling pass, double pike, very nice. Alyssa is a Canadian. It's her first year at Ohio State. Coach says she wasn't planning on doing college gymnastics, but started training again and wanted to get back into it.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice to have that kind of skill?
And she's been a great addition for the team. Top scorer on 3 events so far this year.
Maroon's teammate, which you mentioned too, Alex DeLuca, recording a 9.7 on the event.
Full and a half punch pike.
As you were saying, her parents actually spent some time at Ohio State, helped her in choosing to go to Columbus. Got a little Buckeye blood in her.
She's doing great here. She's a great fit.
Yeah, she actually applied as an international applicant, but she got her social security number in time, so now she's a dual citizen. Competing for the 1 year for Ohio State.
Finishes with a double tuck dismount. Little step forward there. Coach says she competes maturely.
Which means what?
That she has the experience. Here's her last tumbling pass, double tuck. A little bit short, lands with her chest down, making her step forward 1 step instead of taking the 1 step you're allowed backwards out of a back tumbling pass.
Alina Weinstein, who didn't have the performance that she wanted on the bars. She gets a go around here on the beam. Fiedler, Sarah Fiedler, her teammate, 9.7 on the beam before her.
Alina's very pretty to watch on this event. She flows very nicely. Here's her flight series, back handspring. Layout step out. Might be a little nervous up there.
Does an event when you didn't get the performance you wanted previously, does that carry over into the next rotation?
It can definitely affect a gymnast's next event, but you can't let it. She has this event as well as floor to help her team get the win today, and she can't let her bar routine affect these routines as well.
Alina Weinstein, one of the top gymnasts here for the Illini. Had her best meet of her career last weekend against Michigan.
Full and a half dismount, little step sideways. Great routine for Alina. 5 down, 1 to go. Puts a little pressure on Kelsey there with the fall in the lineup earlier.
Go back to looking at Weinstein's dismount.
Round off, punches nicely into the full and a half. And just a little off balance. She had to do a balance check with her foot.
Heading over to Taylor Jones on the floor for Ohio State. Her teammate, Allie Marone, a 9.65.
I would say Jones has a dynamic routine as well.
Against Pitt last weekend on the floor, tied for 4th with teammates Alex DeLuca, Melanie Schaefer.
Sky high double pike, almost overdid it there.
What do you mean by overdoing it?
She had too much momentum when she landed and had to almost slide her front foot back a little bit too much. It's hard to control those, what timing you open up at.
Taylor Jones, a senior captain for Coach Fagan's Buckeye squad.
We'll see her combination pass, front full to front layout. Looks like she's got springs in her legs there.
A very strong gymnast. So picking a dynamic routine fits her style.
I would say so. Here we see Carrie watching her last tumbling pass. Double tuck. Finishes with a nice routine.
Taylor Jones. Take a look at her last pass.
I said the first pass she overdid. I think this one she landed a little bit short on the double tuck. She had to take that step forward. But all in all, great routine for Ohio State.
So 5 down for Ohio State on the floor. Kelsey Joannides will wrap things up for Illinois. They're on the beam. Her teammate, Alina Weinstein, a 9-7. Rebounding from that fall on the bars.
Kelsey's a very solid competitor. She needs a good score here to replace the fall from earlier in the lineup.
You see a common thread in all of these routines here on the beam, with their coach being a quote-unquote beam specialist.
Definitely the styles are similar, but every gymnast has different skills and a different talent. So they're not obviously going to do all of the same skills. I would say they flow very similarly.
Capture the runner-up spot in the all-around. Hang on.
She did touch the beam with her hand. That won't be a fall, but it will be a deduction.
What is the point differential in deductions there?
I would say it's about 3/10 if she grabbed the, she didn't grab the beam, she just lightly placed her hand on it. So
we'll go back and take a look at it.
A little bit, shoulders a little bit uneven going into the front aerial, and she touched it. I would say 3/10. Looks a little bummed, but better that score than one with a fall in it.
Which Illinois had there on the beam. Colleen Dean, all-arounder, Ohio State. The anchor here on the floor, her teammate Taylor Jones, a 9.775.
Nice first pass here. She does a front double twist. Beautiful.
I think already you can feel a different kind of energy in this routine that she's doing.
Colleen does a front layout, full punch front layout. Always has the pointed toes, the legs together. That's what they're looking for.
And she's really playing to the judges, playing to the crowd. Her facial expressions, watch them, her smile.
We were talking about smiling. She's definitely smiling a little bit more in this routine.
Week to week, her coach says she is the one who has been solid on all 4 events.
Switch side, split jump. Gears up for her final tumbling pass. Back handspring double tuck. Very nice. Clean landings all around.
The only junior on the team. Gets a thumbs up from our Kylie Caloric.
See her last tumbling pass, round off. Back handspring, and she gets off of those hands very quickly. Allows her to rotate exactly how she wants to in that double tuck.
And her coach likes it. Carrie Fagan watching her anchor go to work. Kelsey Joannides back on the beam. Want to update that, a 9.675. And Jaclyn Kantecki doing the exhibition routine for Illinois. A different way to start.
Forward roll. That full turn there can be tricky. It's a required element that every gymnast must do, a turn on the beam.
We want to mention, too, the Colleen Dean floor score. She recorded a 9.775. So Taylor Jones and Colleen Dean, both for Ohio State, they're on the floor recording 9.775s.
And that's that unique front flip we saw earlier.
I think we dubbed it officially as cool.
Cool.
The cool trick.
Maybe one knew how to do it and the other played around with it and tried to figure out and executed it very nicely.
Does that happen a lot where gymnasts watch other gymnast routines and say, hey, I like that, I want to try it?
Yeah, it's fun to play with new tricks and stuff that you've never done before. Even if you're not going to compete it, it's still fun to play around in the gym and do something other than your standard routine that you compete all year long.
Jaclyn Kantecki preparing for her dismount.
That handspring layout into a full. That used to be my dismount on beam.
The cool move. Take another look.
Kick over front to a sit position.
Rotation 3 now in the books. We're going to take it to the final rotation. Illinois still leading after 3. BTN Women's Gymnastics is brought to you by Alpha Factor. Compete with confidence. You can always hear from BTN personalities, get programming information, and so much more. Follow the BTN on Twitter and on Facebook today. And joining us now is the head coach for the Illini, Kim Landress. And Coach, you had career highs by at least one gymnast in all of your first 3 rotations. How much did you see this kind of performance from your team coming?
You know, in the practice this week, we really worked on attacking our gymnastics and really working towards our weaknesses, and we got off to a strong start on vault. Vault has been a weakness for us this year, and we made some milestones today on vault, and we continued it on bars. Had a couple hiccups on bars and beam, but everybody else picked it up and followed through and really committed to their gymnastics, so I'm really proud of the team at the moment.
You had a couple hiccups on beam, but not as many as you had last weekend, Kim. How does it feel with a nice hit, 5 for 6 beam routines going into your final rotation?
You know, it feels great. I think that this week we committed to every skill we were doing. So if we were a little off, we stayed with it and executed it and really fought to stay on the beam. And so that's a type of aggression we need and attitude that we need in order to be a top team.
All right, Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So her Illini team rolling from the start and continuing to roll with those beam results, a 2.9850.
Amber and Liz, both 9.85s, made up for Kelsey's fall there. That's exactly what they needed.
Again, counting the top 5 of 6 scores.
In the 9.7 range.
That was with replacing Allie Marone for Melanie Schaefer, and with Sarah Miller not in the floor rotation. There is the updated totals after 3 rotations. The Illini still leading. Illinois has set the pace and really hasn't looked back all afternoon.
It's a close meet, Lisa. Ohio State ending on beam and Illinois on floor. I think Illinois has a little advantage ending with their home crowd. They've been gone for 2 weeks. They're back at home.
Maybe there's a future all-arounder.
That's my niece, Effie.
Oh, she's cute.
She's got her Illinois shirt on there. Oh, I miss her. I haven't said hi yet.
She's only an arm distance away. You can say hi after this. But right now, let's look at your all-around standings. Here's the updated race. Kelsey Joannides leading the way for Illinois. You have 3 Illinis there in the top 5, and then 3 Illini gymnasts there in the top 5, and then 2 Buckeyes there in Colleen Dean and Allie Marone, who, as I mentioned, was actually just inserted late into the floor exercise. And so Marone there in the top 5 suddenly inserted kind of last minute and is in the top 5 right now for the all-around competition.
Yeah, and Ohio State rolled with it. Like Carrie said, doesn't matter. We can interchange lineups right now. We have the depth, we have the health, and Allie did a great job just last minute being inserted.
Look who's in the house. Not only Kylie's niece, but the quarterback for Illinois, Nathan Scheelhaus. Wake up, Nathan. Gonna have to throw a football at him or something to get him fired up. These gymnasts preparing here for the 4th and final rotation. Victoria Aepli is going to start things off out of Dublin, Ohio, a sophomore for the Buckeyes. And how much are you aware of the score going into a final rotation?
Personally,
how much
very
did you want to
aware.
know? How much did you want to know?
Some people close their eyes and don't look at the scores at all because it puts more pressure or less pressure on them. I like to know every score throughout the whole meet.
Well, we have a close one here in this dual meet, Illinois and Ohio State. You could tell that she was losing a little bit of her balance there on that trick.
That's probably the hardest series we'll see today, and she starts right off the bat with it's called a try series. She does a back handspring layout. It was just a little off balance. Meaning the next 5 competitors are going to have to hit their routines if they don't want to count this ball.
Victoria Aepli, we saw her in the exhibition routine at the start of the afternoon on bars. Leading things off, preparing her dismount here on beam.
Round off, double twist and puts her hands down. That's 2 falls in 1 routine. Hopefully they don't have to count this score though. Back handspring, step out, back handspring, step out to a layout, step out. Super, super difficult series. Not many gymnasts do a triple series today.
And where does things go wrong here on the dismount?
She just doesn't look like she got the rotation off of her hands from the round off on the beam. She didn't get the set in order to rotate her all the way around.
Kelsi Eberly up next here for Illinois on the floor. Leading things off here. This is the event that the home crowd usually gets into.
It's a crowd favorite. Does her jump series before her first tumbling pass. Some girls don't like that because they might not want to get tired before their first tumbling pass. Double pike. Very nice. She's obviously used to doing those jumps before the first tumbling pass. Coach says she's still learning how to compete in college. Just a freshman, getting used to competing every weekend. A little bit different than club gymnastics.
Sometimes she will start on beam as well, as she's used to this leadoff spot here on the floor for the Illini.
Second pass was a front layout, front fold, combination pass.
It's kind of a fun little move.
Little head roll there.
Sort of egging this crowd on to get into her routine.
Ends with a front handspring full and a half, which is Rudy. A little bit low chest on the landing, but all in all, great leadoff routine for Illinois on floor.
Kelsi Eberly, take a look at her final pass.
Here's the front handspring Rudy. Just has that slight pike down in her hips.
Headed over to the beam, Melanie Schaefer for the Buckeyes. Her teammate Victoria Aepli recording an 8.575 with those 2 falls.
You can almost see her talking to herself up there. Maybe she's using her keywords.
You're right.
It's not only Illinois that uses them. We used to use keywords in every event that we did, not only beam.
Anything that can take your mind off of that 4-inch piece of wood.
Whatever helps.
Schaefer in the second spot here for the Buckeyes.
Has a very difficult dismount, a round off, double back last weekend. Didn't go as well as it did right there. Great routine for Schaefer.
And Ohio State needed a solid routine out of Melanie Schaefer. It got it.
It's a good bounce back. Here's her dismount, double tuck. A little low chest on the landing, but pulls it out.
Did the low chest create that small little hop?
I would say so. She had to hop forward a little bit to save herself from putting her hands down.
Sarah Fiedler for Illinois next on floor. Eberly before her, a 9.625. Right now, I'm waiting for a floor routine that's going to get this Illini crowd into it.
This may be it, Lisa.
But stepped out of bounds.
Again, that's a 10th for going out of bounds. She just had so much momentum out of that double pike. She couldn't control the landing. This is a sassy routine from Sarah Fiedler.
I like that. Sassy.
Her handspring front layout, stays inbounds.
Coach Landers said she just added floor to her resume. Consistent competitor, calm and confident. Could be a difference maker for us. Is she thinking out of bounds here?
No, she's not. I believe that's out of her head already. She has moved on and figured out how to land that third pass right there.
Sarah Fiedler, solid on the floor. The only problem is when she stepped out.
Double pike. So much momentum going out, she can't hold herself forward anymore. She has to.
No, I saw more than one step they're out of bounds. One or two or three. Trying to collect her balance. How do you evaluate how many steps she took?
She took 2 steps out of the flip, but I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2 tenths that she'll get deducted for being out of bounds. We'll find out when her score comes.
Allie Marone had a career high against Pitt last weekend on the beam. And look at that mount.
It's a very cool mount. Distinguishes her routine from the rest.
Her teammate Melanie Schaefer, a 9.775.
This is called an anodi. It's almost an Arabian back handspring. Looks great on her.
Teaching all the tricks in British Columbia.
The girls know what they need to do to finish out this rotation.
Marone, an elite athlete from Canada.
She has one skill left here. Front aerial. Her team's excited if you hear them in the background. A lot of difficulty in this routine.
And her dismount.
Stuck, double full dismount. Exactly what Ohio State was looking for.
I would say so. Take another look at this mount.
So unique. I don't think I've seen that in a long time.
From the mount to the dismount.
Can hear the sound of her feet when they hit the ground.
A solid sound, a solid landing, A solid performance and a smile for Allie Marone. A hug from the head coach. Elise Gill up next for Illinois here on the floor. We saw her compete there on the vault to start things off. Her teammate, Sarah Fiedler, a 9.575.
We talked about figuring out how to play new roles this year with a new team. Coach says she's rising to the occasion this year as a junior.
High off of that.
Nice double pike for her first pass. Little music change here. Get her in a different mood before her second tumbling pass.
You ever change your music in floor routines?
Yeah, I did. I would use probably 2 songs per music that I did, and I tried to change it every year, so. Had a new routine every year.
Gill and the Illini with a small lead going into this final rotation. Gill having a tremendous season, powerful athlete, Coach Lynn Chris says.
Front layout, front full, and she nails it.
And a look into the camera. She knows where those TV cameras are. Take a look at the second pass for Elise Gill.
This is the whip half, front layout full, straight body, straight legs.
And her coach waiting. Oh, we like it. We like it. Heading back over to the beam for Ohio State, Nicole Crowder. Her third event here this afternoon. Her teammate, Allie Marone, getting a career high, a 9.850. So Marone, back-to-back career highs on the beam in back-to-back weekends.
Crowder started off this routine with a press handstand. Shows her strength on this event.
How do you show strength?
Press handstand is a very difficult move. You have all of your body weight just on your arms. Nicole about to do her series. She does a one-arm back handspring, which we haven't seen today, into her layout step out. She's solid.
Coach Fagan says she is solid as a rock on the beam. She is our star on the beam.
Front aerial to her gainer full dismount. That was a neat combination right there.
And held the landing. Checking her balance a little bit.
Showing that her feet were not moving. Here's the one-arm back handspring to a layout step out.
And here's that dismount.
Gainer full.
Yeah.
Uses those toes to make sure she's not moving.
Alina Weinstein, the all-arounder, looking off to finish her day in a strong fashion. Her teammate Elise Gill, a 9.8.
Coach says she loves to compete. Very consistent and just loves to be out here every weekend.
Speaking of competing, Weinstein, one of those all-arounders. We saw this weekend Penn State's Sharia Musser win the all-around against Iowa. How do some of the all-arounders like a Weinstein compare to her?
They both have to do all 4 events every day in practice and every weekend. It wears on your body, and they have a little bit, I wouldn't say more pressure than the other girls, but everything that they do tonight counts for the team.
Weinstein, a junior. As we mentioned, she had her best meet of her career against Michigan. Coach Landers says every weekend gets a step closer to realizing her potential. Took a while for her to catch on. We watch her prepare for her pass.
Her final tumbling pass, a double tuck.
And
Nails
stuck it. And she knew it.
Beautiful routine for
And she
Alina.
loves it. So does her coach. Weinstein finishing in style.
Here's her first tumbling pass. Double pike. Opens up at the perfect time. And here we see her third tumbling pass. Nice set. Travels nice. As soon as her feet land, she has that smile on her face.
Can't wait to celebrate. Going over to Colleen Dean, another all-arounder for Ohio State. You see her numbers and her work here this afternoon. Nicole Crowder's work earned her a 9.75 on the beam. And Weinstein, who we just saw, a 9.825 there on the floor.
Starts off with her leap series here. Front aerial into a jump. Doesn't look like they're feeling the pressure up there. That's a back handspring layout step out. A little hop on that, but she saved it.
Ohio State with 3 straight solid performances here on the beam. Make it 4.
Stuck gainer full dismount. 1 to go.
Ohio State not getting the production it wanted to kick off this event. But Colleen Dean making up for it there in the 5 spot.
That was her gainer full dismount. She's happy she stayed on that beam.
Dean will wait for her score. Kelsey Joannides, one of the leaders there in the all-around competition. Just a solid performance here this afternoon. Again, I mentioned Weinstein, her teammate, a 9.825 before her.
Starts off with a very high double tuck. Senior Kelsey, coach says, has improved every year. And she's done pretty great the last 3 years, so we'll see what this year has to bring.
She's a second team All Big Ten honoree as a junior.
Here we'll see her combination tumbling pass. Front layout, front layout. Very pretty lines from Kelsey. Turns around and goes right back for her third tumbling pass. Beautiful double pike.
Kelsey Joannides needs a 9.825 or higher to tie Colleen Dean here in the all-around race. Colleen Dean recording a 9.85 on the beam. Here is Joannides' final pass.
Back handspring, double pike. Near perfect. Coach liked it.
Yes! The head coach says. Joannides in a back and forth competition there in the all-around. We head over to Sarah Miller. Only competed in the vault here this afternoon. She is the anchor here on the beam. Again, her teammate Colleen Dean recording a 9.85.
You can see she has that taped ankle.
There you see her vault score, a 9.925. But there was that inquiry made, bumped her up from a 9.825 to a 9.925.
Front aerial, right into a back tuck, neat combination.
Sarah Miller, a talented gymnast, last year's freshman of the year, battling that slight ankle injury.
Probably thinking right now, get me off the beam, get me off the beam.
Miller needs to come through here for the Buckeyes. They need her score.
And that's a difficult move right there. Lands on 1 foot only. 4 inches wide. I don't know how many inches wide your foot is. Nails that routine. Gainer full. It's exactly what Ohio State needed. They don't have to count that fall.
I was going to say, how about the mental toughness for the Buckeyes here when they knew they needed 5 straight routines and they get it?
That's what that anchor spot is for. Sarah Miller is in that spot for a reason.
Amber C on the floor. Last to go here for the Illini, Kelsey Joannides, a 9.825.
This routine is packed with difficulty. You're about to see why.
And to update you on the all-around competition, Kelsey Joannides and Colleen Dean deadlocked in a tie, finished in a tie, 39.175.
We just saw a front double full, punch front. The only other front double full we saw today was just a plain front double full. She punches the front out of it. Most of her teammates opened with a double tuck or a double pike, so it's nice to see something different for a first tumbling pass.
Competed in the all-around the last 2 meets. Competed in the all-around here.
Double 2.5 twist for her second tumbling pass. Both 1 and 2 have been very difficult so far.
The final pass.
Front Rudy, and she nails it. That's 6 very strong routines to finish this meet for the Illini.
That's the way it's kind of been going here for Illinois, starting out strong on the vault, finishing strong here on the floor, and finishing strong for the team, Amber C.
Here we see her Rudy. Perfectly straight body in the air. Opens up nicely.
Amber C needs a 9.8 for her team to win this dual meet. As we wait on that, Alex DeLuca for Ohio State. An exhibition routine there on beam. Sarah Miller, her teammate, in the anchor spot, recording a 9.825. Remember, as we wait for Amber C's score, C gets a 9.9, which wraps up the win for Illinois.
DeLuca just had a little mistake on beam. It won't affect Ohio State's score. It's just an exhibition routine. A little off balance there on the punch front. Dropped her shoulders on the takeoff.
Amber C, as we had mentioned, she's got a 9-9 on that floor. That could possibly, as we're crunching the numbers, put her in a three-way tie with Ohio State's Colleen Dean and the Illini's Kelsey Joannides. We'll have to wait on that.
And a very tough series for DeLuca. That was a 2-foot back handspring to a 2-foot layout. She lands on the beam with 2 feet at the same time.
But a nice dismount, a nice landing. Alex DeLuca finishing off her exhibition routine there on the beam. We'll head over to the floor for Illinois and Hannah Welker competing in her exhibition routine.
Hannah competed on bars earlier this afternoon.
Welker actually competed on the floor last week against Michigan. Her coach said she did a good job. Is this a chance now for Welker to prove something to the coach in the rotation or in the lineup last week, doing an exhibition routine here?
Definitely. I think exhibition routines are great for girls that are trying to get into that lineup. Gets you some experience, some exposure, and shows your coach, if you nail it, that you're ready to compete for the team.
And as we watch Hannah Welker in her floor competition, I want to update you that we do indeed have a three-way tie for that all-around competition between Amber C, Kelsey Joannides, and Colleen D. How unusual is that?
3 girls with the same score?
A three-way tie.
I would say that's pretty unusual. Good for them. 3 winners, right? Hannah's having fun out there.
Well, her team was solid start to finish because of Amber C's performance. Wrapped up the win here this afternoon. Welker in her final pass.
Great exhibition routine from Illinois.
So we're going to go to break as we wrap things up. Keep it right here. We'll see you back here in Champaign and tie it up in a nice little bow. Back here in Champaign, we had a close one and a tight one and an exciting one. And here's your final results here after that 4th rotation. We start with Ohio State. They're on the beam. Victoria Aepli not getting things off for the way she wanted to for the Buckeyes, but Ohio State rebounds and finishes with 5 solid routines.
Very good for Ohio State. They didn't have to count that fall. Colleen Dean and Alyssa Marone, both 9.85s. Very good scores for beam.
And a career high for Alina Marone there with the 9.85. Over to the floor for Illinois. Solid pretty much up and down.
See, had a packed routine with difficulty. It was clean. All 6 routines were very clean, and they got the score they needed.
Amber C was the anchor there for the Illini on the floor, and she needed to come up with that 9.9 because you look at the total there, your eyes jump over to there. The Illini winning by 1 1/4 tenths of a point.
Both great scores for both of the teams, regardless of who won. It's a great home score for Illinois, and it's a great road score for Ohio State.
And we had a 3-way tie, too, as we mentioned, in the all-around race as well. Wasn't necessarily just tight with the team race. It was tight in the all-around race. Amber C, Kelsey Joannides, and Colleen D all tying in a 3-way tie here in Champaign. As you see her numbers, we crunched them and checked it twice and double-checked. 39.175 is the final. And all 3 of them, because you can't choose a favorite when it comes down to that, are today's Alpha Factor Alpha athletes. Amber C, a sophomore, all-around co-champ. What did you see from her today?
I was very impressed with her floor routine.
Came up with that 9-9 to anchor things for the Illini. Look at Colleen Dean, the junior, the other alpha factor, alpha athlete. Finished off with a 9.85 on beam, and we're going to wrap things up when we return here from Champaign. So your dual meet results, the Illini take it in a very, very slim margin. We showed you your 2 of the 3 all-arounders. Here is your third, Kelsey Joannides, a senior for Illinois. Wraps up the third portion of our tri-champ, so to speak, in the all-around competition. Joannides, one of the solid performers, and has been here for Illinois. Let me ask you, what stood out with her here today? Joannides.
All around, she is just a very decorated athlete. Was very impressive on all 4 events. Has great lines, and I think is going to go very far in her senior year.
Well, the Illini's head coach, Kim Landris, joining us now. And Coach, we were talking about this 3-way tie in the all-around. How surprised were you to see that there at the end?
You know, we have a group of core all-arounders that always come through, and it's really rare to tie in the all-around, but I think it just showed how much that each all-arounder really committed to their routines today.
Coach, how good does it feel to have a solid score and a solid performance today going into next weekend at the Navy Pier meet when you see UCLA?
It feels great. You know, we started off with season highs on vault and bars, and then moved to beam and had a shaky but solid performance, and capped it off with some good routines on floor. We knew that Amber needed to bring in a good score. I think it was a 9.8 my SID said, and she came in with a 9.9. So, you know, they really pulled it out, and it should really help leading into this next weekend.
Well, Coach, thanks for joining us. Congrats on the win. You started strong and you finished strong.
Thank you.
Final thought, Kylie Caloric?
Like I said, all in all, a great meet for both teams. It was such a close meet. Illinois is coming away with a very good home score that they get to count in their regional qualifying score, which will soon be how the teams are ranked in the nation. Ohio State will have a great away score that they'll get to count into that calculation.
That's it from Illinois. You saw the results, a 3-way tie in the all-around. The Illini just edging out a win. There are your results. Remember, coming up tonight at 7 Eastern, Big Ten men's basketball, Indiana at Purdue. For Kylie Caloric, I'm Lisa Byington. So long from Champaign.